welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who can't differentiate Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. It's John Levengood.
Those movies are all really kind of a blur if you haven't watched them really recently.
So 1, they go into the lab, right? And then 2, she goes into the city. 3, she goes into the desert.
4, was 4 Retribution?
Is that the boat or the prison?
4 is the tower.
The tower?
Isn't 4 the tower? And then 5 when she's a dominatrix ninja?
And she's
and then 6 is when she's like an ultraviolet ninja with all of her clones.
Is there a 7 one?
Yeah, that was the most recent one, the final chapter. And in that one, she's just motorcycling around and going to meet, going to kind of like the super city headquarters where the Umbrella executives are still alive. And it turns out that she was a clone of one of them. And you see like little elderly Mila Jovovich.
What?
That was the last one. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So in the last one, she finds out that she is a clone of one of the Umbrella Corporation's executives, and that the little girl, the whatever it is, the White Queen,
yeah,
was designed on the basis of a child that she lost.
Oh,
so in other words, it gets really, they really try to bring it all together and really force together some puzzle pieces.
So which one's in the mall with all the different levels?
The mall?
Like they're in a big area, like a compound.
Oh, like the dome where they go to
dome.
Moscow and Tokyo and all that. That's the one where she is what I call the dominatrix ninja, where she's in the leather with all those like silvery brackets, those chrome brackets. I think that's Retribution.
So which one is in?
An Extinction is the desert.
Wait,
Apocalypse.
What's the ship? What's the ship one?
The ship one is part 5 or 6. It's 5 or 6.
You know what's weird? So I like the first one.
6.
I like the first one. The second one was okay. The third one had too many birds. And then 4, 5, and 6, 7, they all just went super insane, and I loved them. But I have no idea what they're about.
I like those birds because a group of crows is a murder of crows. So you had a murderous murder of zombie crows.
Yeah, there's just so many of them.
There's a lot of birds. And then she used her telekinesis fire, remember?
Remember the bird in 28 Days Later that dropped the blood into Brendan Gleeson's eye?
That bird was pure menace.
So that one bird had more of an effect on me than all them birds.
I mean, especially when you have Raging Gleeson in its wake.
Man, imagine a Braveheart Raging Gleeson.
Dude, well, I mean, I guess it was like 10 years later, but he was still intimidatingly tough. Not that he's not a tough looking guy now, but that was what, 2000, 2004?
2001, I think, 28 Days Later.
Remember that drop hit him and he's like, get away from me. And then 15 seconds later, he's like, rah, 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 and he's trying to tear out his own eye almost.
He sounded like me after a Four Loko at a Korn concert.
All
right.
Those movies were a lot of fun to revisit, though, by the way. That was last year that I revisited all of the Resident Evil movies. And I got to tell you, I enjoy them a lot more. It's kind of, in a weird way, like an ill-plotted version of the Saw series. If you haven't seen a Saw movie in forever and you just throw in part 4, 5, or 6, you have no idea what's going on. You don't have any idea why they're there or what the story connections are. But if you watch them in order and you know where it's picking up from and what it's leading to, it's okay. So in this, they keep giving you all these little clues that build up to the end. But if you haven't seen one of these movies in a couple years and you watch it, you're just this is just a mindless action movie that doesn't matter.
Oh, you need but see, if you sat down and just watched Resident Evil 5 and that was it, you would be it would feel like a fever dream.
Well, that's just it. Then it's purely that kind of bad movie entertainment full of explosions and effects. And I'm not saying that the Resident Evil movies are worthy of reverence. It's just that there is more to extrapolate from them if you see them in sequence in a timely manner.
Gotcha. The only thing I remember about the last one is the guy from Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey. Running around with a clone.
Running around with a clone. Those movies were... Oh. I guess I'm kind of relieved that they're over, but I'm glad that they kind of wrapped up their little storyline. I'll watch them all again in order in 10 years.
You want to hear something random?
That's all we pod about.
Ruby Rose was in the last Resident Evil. Can you believe that Resident Evil came out this year?
Yeah, it was early this
2017.
Year, right?
Yeah, I guess we're 2018 now. But then she was also in Triple X 3. She was in Pitch Perfect 3.
John Wick 2.
John Wick 2. And I think she was in something else. She's like the sequel.
Well, not just that, but all that was everything that you just mentioned from 2017.
Yeah.
Because John Wick 2 was 2017.
Yeah.
Final Chapter was 2017. Oh, Pitch Perfect 3 it was 2017.
Yep, Christmas.
It was in December.
And you want to hear
Did you see that?
No.
No.
You want to hear something else? John Barenthal had 5 fresh movies this year.
He was in 5 movies?
Fresh movies.
I'm surprised he was... Being in 5 movies, period, is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a movie called Shot Caller with Jamie Lannister. That, if you watch that and Brawl in Cell Block 99, holy crap, it's like a bloodbath extravaganza.
He's in Brawl in Cell Block 99?
No, John Barenthal's in Shot Caller.
Oh, okay, I got you. You're just comparing them.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much similar. And then I'm trying to find the Rotten Tomatoes thing right now. And then he was in Baby Driver.
Yeah.
He was very good in Baby Driver.
Yes.
He was one of the Bellas in Pitch Perfect 3.
What?
He was he was in Triple X 3. Oh wait, no.
Wait, did you say he was a Bella?
Yeah, they added him.
Like, what?
Yeah,
How do I not?
They called him a Berna.
I love it.
John Berna. He was in Sweet Virginia, which is like a horror film that I hear is really good. He was in Shot Caller, which is very good. He was in Pilgrimage with Tom Holland. Then he was in I can't believe it. He was in Wind River, which is a very good film. And
he was in half the movies of 2017.
And the scene he's in, it's really good, and it doesn't go the way you think. And then he was in Baby Driver.
He was in a lot of stuff.
Baby Driver. That was So I just wanted to kind of drop that knowledge on you, man. How'd that feel?
Actually, I'm pretty impressed. Like, that's a lot. He was in a lot of movies.
You're smiling right now.
Like, he was in a lot. I'm baffled. I'm nonplussed.
Hey, wait. So before we get into the questions, I just got to tell you something. I watch Graham Norton all the time. I love that talk show. And the cast of The Greatest Showman was on, and Zac Efron was on the couch, and Graham Norton always puts people on the spot. So there's a lot of improv. There's a lot of them kind of just dancing for Graham Norton. And he tried to put Zac Efron on the spot, and poor Efron just froze, man. He can't improvise. He just.
Aww.
So I was like, hey, man. So you and him, well, I'm sure he can improvise when he's not called to it, but reminded me of you when we try to make you improv.
Poor guy. I mean, I'm sure that like a lot of the Baywatch stuff was totally off the cuff, but that's a little different because you're having fun and you have a base script.
Yeah.
But that's wow. Poor fella. Well, at least he's pretty.
And then one more thing. Oh gosh, one more thing before we get into it. So I got my degree in lit and literature, and I worked in bars, so I was like with a bunch of punks and all that kind of stuff. And when they heard that I had a lit degree, they're like, "Oh, fancy!" They're like, "Oh, tell me, quote some literature." And I would always go, "I would prefer not to." And then they get all pissed off at me, and they're like, "Come on, man!" I'm like, "I would prefer not to." But the whole time I was quoting Bartleby the Scrivener from Melville, so I was being super pretentious. Nobody knew it. They thought I was being a dick, and I was basically Bartleby because no one knew what I was getting at. I was a bouncing Bartleby.
You're the Peaky Blinder of FSU bar bouncers.
And I would just keep it going. I would prefer not to.
You're the cheeky bouncer.
That was my shirt too. Every 20 minutes, every hour I had a 5-minute dance in the middle of the floor. But no, the whole time I would prefer not to. And they were just like, "Come on, man. Come on." I would prefer not to. But little did they know that I was quoting one of my favorite Herman Melville short stories. The other day I saw Flannery O'Connor, where she grew up.
I don't know who that is.
A good man is hard to find.
I don't know.
Gothic, Southern Gothic. Crazy shit.
No clue. Not a big reader. I read a lot about movies.
When you're at the grocery store, you read the tabloids.
I will when I'm in line. I'm like, oh my gosh, Kanye's having an expensive divorce.
Yep, that's what I read a lot.
Speaking of reading a lot, so over time we've been getting longer and longer and longer listener questions, and some listeners have started to like give us like caveats or like addenda or examples, or started to answer the questions themselves, but then still asked us. Like, so we've had Neil has given us long ones. We've had a long heckling session with Alex Vorkov. We had Dylan's really long question that was of legendary heckling. And so this time I got something so long that I am just calling this a mailbag submission.
Oh,
it's from mailbag submission. So Logan from Cleveland, Ohio writes, so we watched the awesomely cheesy monster flick Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, sometimes alternately titled Invasion of Astro Monster, and the less awesome Godzilla's Revenge, both last night. My favorite thing about Monster Island is that none of the creatures seem to ever spend any of their time on life-preserving functions, such as eating or sleeping, but rather they seem to be screeching, taunting, and body-slamming 24/7. I know the origin of the original Godzilla, but what's up with Monster Island as featured in the Godzilla vs. films? Are all the monsters there the product of radiation exposure? Was the island the site of nuclear tests or maybe a reactor meltdown? Some monsters like Godzilla and the giant praying mantis thing, I forget the creature's name, could conceivably be mutated real-world animals. And then others like King is it Ghidorah?
Yeah.
Ghidorah, a three-headed flying monster, seems more mythical in origin. Maybe they're just all aliens or something like that Godzilla fights. And on a related note, I've heard conflicting stories about scene and storylines with American actors being spliced into Godzilla movies for their American release to make them more palatable to U.S. audiences. Any idea if there's any truth to this? Thanks, Logan.
I did.
So Logan just unloaded the actual longest written submission that we have ever received by twofold, by the way.
But I will say something though. Dirtbag D
from Melbourne,
Dylan. He asked a question, but he also put his thoughts into it, and it was very like, I'm Dylan. This one was very earnest, and this one's like, hey, I would love to know the answer to this, so I'll take mailbag submissions.
But you won't take Dylan?
No, Dylan's great. But Dylan's like, hey guys, so I just watched Citizen Kane, Lawrence of Arabia, The Godfather, Godfather Part 2, 400 Blows. I watched all of Terrence Malick's films, okay? I bought all the Criterion films. And then I went, and then I bought them on Blu-ray again. Then I watched Citizen Kane. Then I watched the top 10 films from each year, going back to 1932, watched all the Best Picture winners. What's your favorite movie starring The Rock?
I wish that was actually submitted. Okay.
Oh, so I did a lot of research on this. Now,
okay.
Ghidorah, please don't kill me with my pronunciation. In what? He is an alien. He is a space alien. Megalon is an underground creature. Rodan, they're saying, is basically from the Soviet Union's nuclear testing. King Caesar is the guardian of a family or like a deity. And then on that island, like Varen, Manda, Baragon, they are, if you look at them, like a snake, and then you have different kinds of creatures, like a cat-type creature. They are radioactive mutated monsters. They have been created, maybe they're from the Earth, but they're not aliens. But you go to Gigan, who's an alien cyborg, Mecha Godzilla, Space Godzilla, and Jet Jaguar, they're all from space.
Who made Mechagodzilla?
Mecha.
Who's Mecha?
Some bro.
Mecha is Mechagodzilla.
That's some guy.
Like is that like was Mechagodzilla a Jaeger that aliens created, or that the other kaiju created to fight the kaiju Godzilla who kept trying to fight their kaiju selves?
I honestly don't know about Mecha Godzilla, but I know that they're from space.
So a lot of these are from space, except for like the Monster Island things.
Yeah, so like Varan, Manda, Baragon, Rodan, Mothra, King Caesar, Megalon, my favorite, Anguirus. That's my boy. The little guy with the tail and the spikes who jumps, and then Godzilla uses him to like whack people with his spike back.
So I watched very few of these movies, but one that really sticks in my head was Gamera, that kind of turtle monster that blew like nuclear exhaust out of its butt to propel itself.
Yeah.
That's basically what it did.
Yeah. That's all. Oh, go for it.
Was that from Monster Island? Was that an alien? Do you know? Did you find it?
I would. Wait, what was his name again?
Gamera.
Oh,
Gamera.
I know Gamera.
I think Gamera had a silly song like, Gamera is really neat. He is full of turtle meat. We all love you, Gamera.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? Did I make that up? That exists, right? I couldn't have just made that up.
No, he is, because they had to sing a song.
He's full of turtle meat. That was like the brilliant translation they came up with for the English translation of whatever Godzilla Gamera. Didn't Gamera get his own movie later?
Yeah, and they actually woke him up, so he was from Earth. And like, there's a giant spider that's in Destroy All Monsters.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
if I saw that, I must have been 12. I have no recollection of that.
And there's also Space Godzilla, Megalon, but he's from the ground. I mean, yeah, it just depends where they're from. There's a Megaguirus, Titanosaurus.
Titanosaurus.
You know what annoyed me? So I was going online trying to find out how to say Anguirus, and some jerk was like, "It's the same way that I say Megaguirus." Like that was his answer.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I'm like, you didn't help me.
If you wrote out, how do I pronounce thought because of the OUGHT, and like it's like bought, but it starts with a T, and they write that, like how does that help anybody ever?
How do you pronounce thought? Oh, it's pronounced like afterthought. But imagine that in spelling.
But with after in front of it.
You just made this more difficult for me.
So I couldn't help but to just giggle at the notion of all these kaiju, by the way. It's like if there are so many of these kaiju on Monster Island, could Monster Island have been where the aliens first created their Pacific Rim rift, and Godzilla was just like a rogue kaiju who turned out to be good, and he solved the problem, and then 50 years later they opened it up again when Godzilla was gone? Like, because he was napping after fighting the Muto.
Yeah.
He was napping, and so like
it's like that. Like Superman was dead, and so all the people attacked, and Godzilla was napping. So then they opened it up again.
Telling you, that's what's happening. I mean, it makes total sense.
So
so Logan though, he's an entomologist, right? Logan, who submitted the question, and it amused me also as an entomologist or biologist even that he was saying like these things just seem to be standing there like body slamming 24/7. Like, and I remember some of these scenes from like TV show clips. It's like Godzilla is almost like a video game player on a stage, and as soon as he walks onto the scene where he can see a monster, it's just like it was standing there waiting to fight, like a boss at the end of a level of, Kung Fu Fighter or Ninja Gaiden or something. Like it was just waiting there.
I picture it more like, where wrestlers go to train? I feel like that's what the island's for.
But like they're doing it all the time. They never eat or sleep. Godzilla never stumbles across a sleeping crab monster or a resting spider monster that's eating something that it caught. They're just sitting there waving their limbs in the air because the moment they saw him, they were ready to fight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like they don't seem to have a natural ecology anymore. they just sit there like mindlessly inserted like video game monsters. And it actually reminded me of those ridiculously carnivorous scarab beetles in the 1999 Mummy movie. Remember they opened a sarcophagus that had probably been sealed for a few thousand years, and it just outpoured all these scarab beetles, these predaceous skin-eating scarab beetles that apparently have had nothing to eat for thousands of years, but have been reproducing over and over again, and they're eating nothing?
Eating each other constantly?
But that doesn't make sense, because you don't just, like, one human can't eat another human and go back and forth forever. Like, you can't keep eating your offspring. There needs to be more.
Well, they let like eight out.
But at one point they pour out, though. They pour out of a trap at some point. Remember, there were like thousands, and they covered things.
Listen, John, I gotta tell you something. You know,
I'm upset about these scarabs.
You know, I analyze a lot of movie scenes, man, but you gotta leave the mummy alone, man.
I love the Mummy. I'm just saying that clearly we have to acknowledge that these are simply magical scarabs.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, well, I think these creatures are deities. I don't think they need to eat much. I just think they kind of dance and fight.
Well, I think that you just touched on the best possible explanation. These creatures are like deities. Mm-hmm. They like don't need to eat or exist in the way that we think of an animal.
Yeah. Only the King Kong movies really show him eating stuff.
Right. I mean, so these things, like that crab monster, before Godzilla came along, that crab monster spent hour after hour, day after week after month after year after decade, just standing in one spot, shaking its claws in the air until a giant lizard came along for it to fight.
Like Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah, I mean, he basically just sits there at the bottom of a lake chained up until, you know, they resurrected him with electricity and then drowned him in 3 consecutive movies.
Jeez Louise.
People just need to keep that thing away from electricity. Just embed him in concrete. I solved it.
Done. Movie over.
Done. So, you know, he asked this other part, and I just totally left this alone because this struck me as right up your alley. But he was asking something that really had an answer to it, like a real answer about that American releases with the like, what is it? Some scenes with American actors just inserted?
Spliced in.
So, like, they dubbed Godzilla, but then on top of dubbing it, they totally swapped in some Americans.
Yeah, Raymond Burr. He was in several Godzilla films, and they just spliced him in.
What a jerk.
Yeah. And if you watch the Godzilla in when? 1998?
Yeah, right? 98 or 97, 98?
Matthew Broderick was spliced into that movie.
Did they splice Sarah Jessica Parker into it too?
Yep. The only guy that was there was Jean Reno. And it was actually a French production.
They're like, no one can take this guy. We need to give him the soft features of Matthew Broderick.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, no, Raymond Burr was spliced in.
Well, Logan, there is your answer. It is, they are deities and Raymond Burr.
That's right. A Canadian.
And they're grumpy deities. They really just, as he put it, they seem to be screeching, taunting, and body slamming 24/7. I couldn't agree more.
I would love to be a jumper and just chill and watch these monsters fight all the time.
You mean a Hayden Christensen jumper?
Yeah. Not a Third Eye Blind jumper.
I thought you meant like at first like a monster that's just like a giant grasshopper monster that just jumps.
Ooh. That's what Anguirra did in the beginning.
I'll bet that really gave Godzilla some trouble because he has like thick, stubby legs. He's not very adroit. I mean, I'll bet a hit and run tactic would work really well against Godzilla.
Well, the only monster that ever defeated Godzilla in 3 consecutive films was called Jogosaurus.
Did you just make that up? That sounds.
Yeah, it just ran around Godzilla, and Godzilla got dizzy and fell down.
Jogosaurus. Mothra defeated him a few times, right?
I mean, Godzilla let Mothra.
I think the first time Mothra was bad, right? And then after that, Mothra was always good. I remember that.
And they got killed a few times, Mothra did.
Poor Mothra. And oh god, and that's right. And we had the question from Alex last week about why is Mothra's eggs are as big as Mothra.
That's right. And also, if you guys get a chance, watch Shin Godzilla. It came out, I believe, in 2016 in Japan. It is a very good Godzilla film. It's different, but it's very good. And
how would you liken it to the latest American released Godzilla?
Completely different.
Completely different.
Completely different. This one's just more about them dealing with, like, Godzilla freezes, and then it's like the government trying to figure out the best plan to get rid of him. So it's like all these different agencies working together. It's interesting. And then this year, watch Colossal. It's not a monster movie, but it has monsters.
And one of those monsters is Anne Hathaway scratching in a playground.
Yeah, that's right. Random awards. Oh, geez. All right, so want to get into the topic?
Yeah. I think we almost referenced it a little bit earlier.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right, so Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. The sequel to the 1995 Joe Johnston directed, the guy who did Captain America, First Avenger, Rocketeer, October Sky, The Wolfman, Hidalgo, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was a really good adventure film, lots of heart. David Alan Grier's yelling at an alligator. I mean, probably, I still love it. I probably haven't watched it since the 90s, but as a kid, I loved it. I felt it was dangerous, fun, great. And then now, the sequel, directed by Jake Kasdan, son of Lawrence Kasdan. Director of Empire Strikes Back. He also directed Orange County, Bad Teacher, Walk Hard, and he also produced New Girl, Sex Tape, Speechless, Fresh Out the Boat. So he's really good, this guy who directed this, and I want to see what you think about this. Jake Kasdan is really good with kind of characters. He's not really good with set pieces, but he's good at getting comedic performances out of his performers. And I found out something interesting. He directed Orange County with Jack Black and Colin Hanks, spoilers for Jumanji, and they're both featured in this film.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that?
That was a lot of fun. I like your comment especially, by the way, about how good he is with characters rather than or over set pieces. Because this first to mention the old Jumanji. The old Jumanji, I'm kind of afraid to watch again, and I thought about watching it again before we discussed this new one, and then I decided against it because I probably haven't seen it in so long that I'm worried it won't hold up well.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm still missing Robin Williams. So like, I don't want to go back and not enjoy one of his movies before. So I'll save that for much farther in the future, watching that again. But so this new one though, the characters were on point. The characters were a blast. And for that reason, I very strongly recommend this movie. It's so much fun. But the storytelling, like as a film, this is drivel.
You want to give me like the 30-second breakdown of the film?
The 30-second breakdown of the film. Okay. So, Jumanji has morphed, it has contemporized itself into a video game, which is encountered by a few kids in detention. Those kids end up choosing avatars, which do not at all befit their real life selves, much to our amusement. And they are coaxed by the game to recover a weird jewel, arbitrarily shove it into a giant statue's eyepiece to save Jumanji, and all this had happened because some random bad guy played by Bobby Cannavale had stolen it and become some sort of evil monster wizard and is going to chase them about. So they need to defeat Jumanji basically by circumventing all these wild animals that he controls and various traps, put the jewel back, yell Jumanji, and they can go home.
That was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty on the spot.
Can I ask you a question? So I was writing down notes for this podcast, and I was thinking about the 4 teenagers, and I just wrote 4 shitheads.
Well,
like, the one girl was really mean to a PE coach who was just being a nice teacher. She's like,
oh, yeah.
That PE coach? All right, so there's 4 characters. There is Jack Black. Oh, there's a Bethany. She's the cell phone addicted girl. There's Spencer, who is kind of the computer nerd. There is Martha, who is the
girl geek,
introverted geek, but who also has like a negative vibe towards people because she feels like that they're going to do that to her. And then there is, oh man, I forgot the guy's name. Kevin Hart. I have his Franklin Moose Finbar. What was his name? Tank?
Fridge.
And
They
then
called
there's
him
Fridge.
yeah.
But so Bethany, all right, so I'm going to go back to Martha. Martha is in PE and she doesn't feel like PEing. And the PE coach is like, hey, I'd love for you to join us. Like, it's part of the class. It gets your blood flowing. It's good for you. Exercise is nice. And she just argues with her. And then she insults her for being a PE coach, which I think.
And that gym coach might have given the best argument I've ever heard for one person to say in a couple sentences to justify the need for gym class in high school.
And what's crazy too is this is a woman who's trying to get kids to exercise. So when you insult a PE coach, they're there to kind of get you out and to get you moving. They're like,
well, it's funny is that the coach even made the point of, to build some coordination, maybe try something new. You'll have to do that a lot in life. God forbid, cooperate with some other people, maybe even have fun. And she said that a little sarcastically because the girl was just so pessimistic. And God, yeah, it's like that gym coach, if she was there, she would have been my favorite of the four characters. I mean, they weren't bad characters, but yeah, you're right. They all exhibited like some rather not many redeeming qualities before they were in the game.
And then you had Bethany, who got into detention because she refused to get off FaceTime when everyone else is taking a quiz. And
also being bitchy to the teacher.
Yeah, and I was a teacher for a long time, and I had to deal with cell phones, and I never had someone deal with me like that. Like, there's no need for her to. I didn't understand. And then there was Fridge, who was just having some kid cheat, and he was being really mean to him. And then you had Spencer, who was he's a little,
he was the least despicable of the four before they entered the game.
Yeah, and so I remember in the original Kirsten Dunst and her brother, they were
privileged.
Yeah, but I don't know, you didn't dislike them. I understand you have to dislike a character and they have to have character traits that need to be fixed throughout the film. So you need to have, at the end they need to be better people. But can't you just have decent people becoming better people, and not becoming like, worse people becoming good people?
Why can't their character flaws simply be that they were introverted or shy or not confident in their own ability to learn and do schoolwork? However, like, why did they also have to specifically have negative traits rather than just being humans with some human flaws versus human strengths? Yeah.
Well, we spent a lot of time on the kids.
Well, and so this is all before they enter the game. They all end up getting detention for various reasons the same day. And in the basement of the school, somehow they encounter the now video gamified Jumanji, which in the first moment of unity, they all decide to play together. And they start the game by choosing their avatars. And this is really the transition into the fun versions and likable versions of their characters. I didn't really care for how they developed the scene of them choosing the avatars, but them realizing themselves in the game, I thought was delightful.
Yeah, and so I guess they all get dropped into Jumanji. The skinny kid, Spencer, he's like this little guy, but he becomes the Rock, Dr. Smolder Bravestone. So I loved him establishing that he's like, holy crap, I'm the Rock. And then Karen Gillan comes down. She's Martha. I'm sorry, Martha, played by Karen Gillan, the snooty girl at let's say the like kind of introverted girl who strikes first because she thinks people won't like her. They establish that in the movie. She comes down. She becomes Ruby Roundhouse, just like a complete badass, played by Karen Gillan, who I love.
Killer of men.
Yeah, killer of men. And then you have Fridge comes down and he becomes Kevin Hart. So
where's the top 2 feet of me?
And so he thinks he's Franklin Moose Finbar, but he's Franklin Mouse Finbar. And then Jack Black, and then Bethany comes down, the cell phone girl, and she becomes Jack Black, Professor Shelley Oberon.
Oh my God. He did such a wonderful job.
And just as she's figuring out, so want to talk about their strengths and weaknesses real quick that are pretty funny?
Oh yeah, so like, I mean, they did do a very good job with the metagame aspect of this, by the way. So in the old Jumanji, they roll the dice, it's the flood thing, and then the flood takes over their neighborhood, right? And that was a cool introduction. Well, so in this, they basically learn that if they tap their chest, it's almost like when you hit pause and are looking at your character's stats or something. And so, yeah, it'll show like The Rock has his strengths are strength,
courage, reflexes, climbing, smoldering, charisma, and boomerang throwing. And then what are weaknesses?
Weaknesses were none. And then like Kevin Hart, like his weakness was strength, speed, and cake, as I recall.
And he was a weapon valet.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, so it was, that was really cute. And then, you know, one of the others have their very like dance fighting and martial arts was Karen Gillan's one, and with the weakness of Venom, which I thought was stupid.
You knew that was going to come into play later.
Right. But I mean, so they all, and then of course, you know, are totally self-interested, you know, phone addict, selfie queen turns into Jack Black, whose strengths are cartography and things like, and archaeology. And so she's suddenly regurgitating all this knowledge and can read, she's the only one who can read the map. And so that was really interesting, like seeing their discovery.
And her weakness was endurance.
Well, yeah. I'm a middle-aged fat man.
And dude, so this movie right now, this movie has done over $300 million.
Good.
And as of Monday, it just overtook Star Wars as the number one spot.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Whoa.
And also, just real quick, the actors were all first choice, and all the scenes were shot in Hawaii. There's CGI, but the locations were real. But all right, so this is this is a weird movie. I guess what I was getting to, I saw it in the theater with a lot of kids, and there's a scene where Bethany, who's played by Jack Black, learns how to pee. And
yeah, well, she learns she has a penis.
I have a handle. It's like a handle.
She's getting play-by-play instructions on how to pee outdoors with a penis.
Yeah, from Mouse, Kevin Hart.
And then the other, what is it? And then The Rock is always, he keeps 3 times he brings up like, and don't forget to aim. It's like, what happened to you? like, why are you so concerned with aiming? What happened to you? And so, I mean, there's that, but then even later in the movie, there's reference to an erection.
Oh yeah, because
she hugged a cute guy thing. Yeah. So it's like now I guess they did it tactfully enough that it wasn't overly provocative or questionable to kids. They might not really know what was happening, especially for the erection.
Yeah. But
right.
The thing I love though, when you were talking about the peeing scene, it's not just the peeing, it's just Kevin Hart in a little hat yelling at Jack Black, who's like, I have a handle. It was just funny watching those two together dealing with that. You know, obviously it's dialogue about peeing, but it's just, I love the fact that there's a scene where Jack Black sprints past Kevin Hart. It's one of the hardest I've laughed all year.
Because his weakness is speed.
But Jack Black can sprint, he just doesn't have endurance. But
yeah, well, while we're talking about that dynamic, can we talk about how we actually felt about the delivery of the characters?
Yeah, sure. Actually, do you want to take a quick break? And then when we come back, we'll break down all the characters and the rest of the film?
I'll allow it.
Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. John, I just watched all the Resident Evil movies.
All 7.
All 7. And I have no idea I don't remember any of them.
They two blur together a bit.
Like, it got me in a weird place.
Well, watching those movies, I mean, it's a mix of guilty pleasure, occasionally good action, but mostly bad action and plots that don't seem to make sense. And
yeah, I just kind of, I just lost track of time. I was in a windowless room. It was bad. All right, in the words of Lazavath, I'll get us. I liked how you got us going into our listener questions earlier. That was very good. You took the reins on that one. I appreciate it. So
every now and then we need to wrangle each other a little bit. Hog tie each other into a listener question or something.
All right, so let's do it. Let's knock out this listener question.
Next question comes from Neil from Greenville, South Carolina, and Neil asks, if you were Rook from Death Note, how would you kill someone that was put into the book? And I'm assuming he means you just wrote the name and didn't write how the person was intended to die.
Wait, so it's just freestyle killing?
Well, like if you're the demon, and whoever is the Death Note holder writes someone's name but doesn't write out the specific way in which they die, how would you, the demon, manifest that death?
Catapult.
Like, wait. Like they just randomly get flung into the air?
Yes.
Like they're just walking down the street.
They're reading the news, and just a massive catapult flings them.
So a catapult like just appears as if they were standing on it that moment.
Well, like he builds a hill.
Do other people?
All right, so think about it.
Catapult?
Think about it like this: this guy walks to work every day, right? It's the guy that you want dead,
Sure.
and same way everywhere, like all the time. But then the guy, wait, what's the guy's name in Death Note? I forgot it.
Ryuk. It's like R-Y-U-K. Ryuk.
Put some signs up and it's like, hey, take a left, veer this way, construction. So you start walking up this little hill, right? There's like a round hill, and in the middle is a catapult. So it's picture a catapult in the middle, but you think you're walking up a hill. Step right up, they lead you perfectly on that thing, and
So you're gonna mousetrap him,
yeah,
like in the like that old game Mousetrap
Yes.
that was all like really elaborate.
Yep. This a catapult. Just, I mean, yeah, I would catapult somebody.
So I don't know why, like, but my mind went to like this place of a mixture of meanness and feistiness at the same time. Of course, we all know I watch a lot of brutal horror movies, so I feel like I'd be the mean, twisted kind of death genie, and I would wait until the writer of the Death Note next saw the intended victim whose name was written, and then I would have that victim suffer like one of those super abrupt, shocking Alison Lohman final scene in Drag Me to Hell deaths, where like your victim is looking at you as they are being dragged to hell through coals with their skin coming off, and
Wow.
yeah. So that's what I'm like. I figure that would really because Ryuk, remember, like so I haven't seen the remake actually yet, but I saw the cartoon ages ago, and I saw all 3 live action movies because they did a Death Note 2, and an L Save the World, and L was the bad guy in part 2 who then became a good. But I saw that, and in those movies, Ryuk wouldn't just introduce the new notebook holder to the rules and encourage them to write a name. He would actually go out of his way to encourage them to, and how will they die? You know? And so he wanted you to do that for some cosmic or mystic reason. So when you don't do it, you're not playing his game the way he wants you to play it, which is why I think that he would go that drag me to hell kind of meaner route that would almost punish you in witnessing this horrific demise.
Well, how about this? What about he shoots him on the catapult and it flies in that person's apartment?
And like totally monkey paw kills the owner.
Yeah, it goes like lands in his house. This leaves like, in the cartoons, like the human shaped thing. Just flies right through
the wall. Yeah.
Yep. Just blasts right through.
And this just reminds me all the more that I really need to watch that new Netflix original Death Note with, and Willem Dafoe was a great choice for Ryuk, because Willem Dafoe has like a very interesting look to him, and I'm not saying that he looks like that demon looked, but it's very appropriate that match to CGI up like Willem Dafoe's face into that. So I really got to get to that. I heard some pleasant things about it. Most of the haters were really just hating that it wasn't like the Death Note they liked before. But from what I could infer, anyway.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get back to it. We got a lot of horror podding to do this year.
You know what's a good movie that feature? Well, it's not a good movie, but features good trebuchet work.
Ooh, good trebuchet work. Is it Lord of the Rings Part 3?
Timeline.
I was thinking of that mutant, like pale pinkish orc general in the two.
Return of the King. He's Return of the King. But in Timeline, if you play a
Paul
drinking
Walker,
game,
right?
yeah, Paul Walker, Gerard Butler, Michael Sheen, Ethan Embry, Billy Connolly, Francis Connor.
Oh, the guy from Swim Fan, right?
No, the woman from AI and Jane Mansfield's car.
Oh, you don't know.
Yeah. Don't put me on timeline spot. But yeah, if you play a drinking game where every time they say trebuchet,
like you're gonna get wasted.
yeah, I mean you'll be able to, yeah, you'll have a few. But if you make them triples, you'll be done.
I mean, there's really no reason in any movie for them to say trebuchet more than twice. Pull up the trebuchets, and even then they're just gonna say fire.
Yep.
They're not gonna say fire the catapult, whatever. They just point to you and say fire.
And I gotta tell you something. If your general is saying pull up the trebuchets, you're late.
That's right. Yeah. Why is the general on the front line?
Yeah. They should be there. And if they're not there, I'm going back to catapults.
It should be trebuchets and drummer boys up front.
Because trebuchets are why would you use a trebuchet over a catapult? More weight?
Because because it's slinging something. It can be an oddly shaped object. You can use randomly shaped debris. So as the catapult is knocking down pieces of wall, trebuchet could be used to launch an even bigger piece of wall than the catapult could fire in the first place.
Or dead cows.
Or dead cows. But that was just it. The trebuchet is meant to be more the improvised item.
Oh, I meant to say alive cows, because that's what happened in Monty Python.
Poor thing.
Wait, man, I hate that. Now I know the difference between trebuchets and catapults.
Well, I mean, that's a difference, right? But the thing is that you can just haul out a trebuchet, and as you are laying siege to something, now granted that implies the siege started, but you can launch things that you wouldn't normally launch. You could put in a trebuchet like a bundle of logs and light them on fire. So when and if the logs are covered in tar and lit on fire and bundled together, when they hit the wall, the bundle will break, and spread fire across a lot of things. Like you can do different things with a trebuchet that you can't do as easily with a catapult because you just rest something in the catapult and then it launches.
Gotcha.
You can shoot dead bodies much more efficiently with the trebuchet if you just want to mock.
That's what they did.
And yeah, just fill it up.
If I had an army of Highlanders, I would shoot them in a trebuchet.
But now you have to be curious about the actual historical reason. I wonder if it was just like a different access to engineering knowledge or different tools because a catapult you pull down and lock in place. A trebuchet gets slung in a different manner. Like it might have just been different innovations from different civilizations as well. And then later, after warring groups met, that you had people who then had learned and had both.
I'm still amazed that William Shakespeare in Romeo and Juliet named the two families the trebuchets and catapults. All right, so you know how they came up with marathons. You know where catapult comes from? There's a really strong dude they would just have him throw rocks.
It was a dude named Catapult.
Yeah, he would just throw rocks.
He sounds like a lesser known X-Man.
Yeah, and then they went they went out of work when arrows came into play. They're like, send up the catapults. Like just dudes throwing rocks. Yeah.
Poor dude. Well, thanks Neil for that question. By the way, Neil is on Twitter and he has a great name. It's remember in National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation when the kid lied about his age to go to the casinos and he won all the cars and he was known by all the pit bosses and they say, Mr. Papa Giorgio, welcome. So my buddy Neil on Twitter is at Papa G76.
Nice. And you know that's Ethan Embry, right? And he was also in Timeline and Devil's Candy.
Oh, he was in Timeline too?
Yeah.
Jeez, everyone was in Timeline.
We're name dropping Ethan Embry.
Mr. Papa Giorgio, welcome.
And they go to that casino where it's like, guess a number between 1 and 10. And rock, paper, scissors. All right. Back to Jumanji.
So the characters though, right? The way.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The way that we've just met the characters, we've learned their powers, we've seen a few funny scenes with them, the Jack Black, The Rock, Karen Gillan, and Kevin Hart. But it's really interesting to me what I will call the writing and directing and acting inconsistency between the characters that these actors are playing and the characters that they are representing. Because The Rock seems to occasionally embrace that he's not confident and that he hasn't always been The Rock. But a lot of the time he also behaves as The Rock, and it's kind of like a switch on and off. And he doesn't seem to embrace the characteristics of the kid, acting-wise. But then, like, Kevin Hart is purely playing himself. He's entirely playing himself.
You want to know something interesting? They shot their scenes before the kids shot their scenes. So they just kind of did what they wanted, and the kids had to... So none of it matches, because they had nothing to really go off of.
Well, Jack Black is spot on, because Jack Black is actively acting the role of a self-involved girl.
Yeah, no, he was great.
You know what I mean? So, like, and he did... Oh, boy, Jack Black... I've always liked Jack Black. I don't like several of his movies, but I think that he's always been a very, like... from the heart kind of actor, even though he's silly. I think he's wonderful. And in this, I feel like he, not The Rock, he was the show stealer for me.
Oh yeah.
The way that he played that, because I never had to remind myself which character Jack Black was playing. Whereas the other ones, it's like I didn't necessarily need a reminder because I forgot, but I got lost in Kevin Hart simply being Kevin Hart, as if he was doing stand-up comedy. And The Rock pretty much being The Rock, going through the lines as if it was written for him, but he was a little less confident, So it was interesting. And Karen Gillan she was the middle ground. She did a good job being the insecure, geeky, kind of apprehensive character that Martha is before they went in the game. So it was a weird spectrum of this.
Quick question. I watched this with Megan, and we were talking about it later on, and do you remember anything that Karen Gillan said? She had that really funny scene where there's a scene where she has to go up to some guards
and flirt
with them, but she's never done it before, so Jack Black teaches her how to flirt, which is hilarious. But I don't remember any of her lines. She didn't really say much.
Honestly, the only lines I remember are because they were flag posting what was going to happen. Get up there. I'll get the gem to you. Things that aren't character moments, they're just announcing to the audience that something is going to happen. But I get your point very well received. Like, she didn't have any sets of lines that were really like show stealing or very laughable once she was in the game, but everyone else did. But she had some physical humor though.
Yeah. Oh no, she was good. But in Doctor Who, she just talked a lot. And so she's capable of delivering the dialogue. Like, they didn't just hire her because she's, a pretty face. She was a first pick for this. So I'm kind of surprised she didn't have more.
And it's funny, too, because you see her recently doing, why can't I think, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
Yeah, Nebula.
Yeah, it's Nebula. I couldn't think of that name. I like her in everything she's done.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I think she's good in this. And I was really happy seeing her in, like, a massive film. But I just didn't remember. But if you think about it, you're on set with Jack Black playing a 16-year-old girl, The Rock, and Kevin Hart. And it's pretty easy to be overshadowed. I don't think that's a mark on you, but those are some strong personalities to be on the screen together.
Well, honestly, with The Rock, most of the stuff I remember is also more physical acting, like him admiring his own chest or the size of his arms.
Yeah.
Look at the size of these things. It was very rarely in line delivery itself that I enjoyed The Rock in this. It was more just seeing The Rock in action scenes and then seeing him, having fun with the body that they had. But yeah, Karen Gillan, again, she had an odd role for that. But Kevin Hart and Jack Black, they were just... I criticize a little bit about the character continuity between the actors when they're in the game versus in reality, but the characters are what made this work, despite that criticism.
That's what the director's good at.
Yeah, they were so likable.
Yeah, and then all right, so I got a couple other things. So each characters, I want to see what you think about this. They get 3 lives. So if they die 3 times, they're dead. So they have a bar on their wrist. They had 3 bars and 2 bars, 1 bar. But there's a scene where, well, I'm just going to say Kevin Hart gets annoyed at The Rock. And
I was going to bring this up.
Kevin Hart pushes The Rock off a cliff. That's kind of crazy. That's not a normal thing. He knows that there's lives that could be lost, and he wastes one of them just because he's feeling sassy.
Well, so like there are 2 sides to this, right? And they were in the heat of an argument, and in the heat of an argument, he chose to push him. Yes, they know there's multiple lives, right? But by this time, he does know that he's not actually killing him when he pushes him off. But here's the other side. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. Here's the other side.
I was listening.
And the other side is that if you are the one getting pushed off, when you are faced with something that normally causes death, it is traumatizing, it is terrifying, it is horrifying. It's something that you don't just shake off when you realize that it was just a dream or you're alive again. Like so that's a horrible thing to do to someone else, even though it didn't have a horrible result. And then I have to come back to Kevin Hart's character again and say, wait a minute. Is that malevolent, even though you knew that he'd be okay to put him through that?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't think they thought about it, but I was like, that's a really mean thing to do. I don't know, because the Fridge
terrifying.
The Fridge character didn't seem like he would do that in real life. He was a jerk, but I would never push somebody off of a cliff, even though I knew they could come back.
That's like, think of it this way: if you're about to jump 30 feet from some North Carolina mountain crag into a lake, and it's just something that people do, people are doing it, it's not like it's only 3 feet deep and you're gonna die, right? But if you weren't looking and a friend of yours pushed you, that's terrifying.
Oh yeah,
right? You see what I mean? And that's terrifying. Even though as you're falling, you might, know that you're going to be fine. But as that's happening, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like now just imagine that you fall so far that you have 4 seconds to process it before you hit. Like that's horrible. No, I agree. That was jarring. I was questioning who they thought the audience was when that happened.
And then what do you think about just the motorcycle guys? I don't think.
Total throwaways. Total nonsense.
And
total throwaways. Garbage.
But I read something by the director, which I think sums it up. He wrote, I feel like if it's a movie that endeavors to be exciting and fun and funny and sort of touching, I feel if we can finish it up right, it can be all those things. I'm just thrilled with what the actors brought to it. It's a movie that is entirely dependent on these 4 essential performances.
It is dependent on him because he didn't bring anything else to the table.
Yeah. But that's pretty. Like, it sounded like he had no interest in the action or anything. It was just charisma.
Do you think that he might have said this after he saw the finished product and realized that all the other things he tried to do didn't work?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, this might have been a very tactful damage control statement.
Yeah, because, I mean, were you ever? I don't think there's ever any excitement. But I had a smile on my face the whole time, and I left with a smile. And obviously, audiences are loving it based on the charisma of the 4 characters. So it's pretty interesting how 4 people can carry a script that doesn't have many great action scenes. The CGI probably isn't too great. It just looked like you love everyone on screen.
The scenes look good. The individual effects look terrible. The CGI snakes looked terrible.
Yeah.
The CGI rhinos were passable at a glance, stampeding, but when you really see them, more bad. The elephant was horrible. The jaguars were passable when they weren't doing much, and they got a little old. But yeah, but these are a lot of these things though. It's
nitpicks.
Right. They tried to do too many different things and didn't seem to put enough attention to any one thing as a result.
Yeah.
Like, on top of that, why Killer of Men, Karen Gillan's, character, the avatar she's playing, its weakness is venom. But in the game, if you got bitten by a venomous snake, you'd die anyway. And then when she goes into a field of snakes, they aren't even recoiling to prepare to bite at her until a bad guy who controls them gets them to attention.
Yeah.
And why, if he wanted the gem that she just picked up, wouldn't he just have them bite her so he could go pick up that gem?
Isn't that what happened? Then she came back with the gem?
Well, no, but she knew that she was going to come back. But why didn't he just do that right away? Why are they talking? Why are they having a conversation? Why is he saying, give it to me?
Oh, yeah.
She stepped on a snake to make it bite her. Because that was part of her plan. So, and that even brings me further to, well, this is just a silly movie moment. She knew exactly where she'd fall and exactly with what timing for that to work for The Rock to put the gem in. But let's look at this bad guy, though. If you completely remove the bad guy from this movie, it doesn't change the movie.
No, not at all.
They could still have weird challenges and time frames and this, that, and the other before something bad happens, like a flood or whatever. You know, like Bobby Cannavale had no business being here. And why was he regurgitating scorpions onto people's heads?
I did love the villain in the first Jumanji. He was awesome. Yeah?
I don't even remember, to be honest. I haven't seen it since high school.
He was just a hunter. He was just a hunter. He was just like a jerky human. Yeah.
Right. I do vaguely remember. Yeah.
There's menace to that guy, though.
Yeah, like, but this Bobby Cannavale thing, like, I was like, is he like a zombie? Is he a sorcerer now? He's got like a giant centipede crawling out of his ear and up his nose into his head. Like, what is this?
Why didn't he just have people waiting around the Jaguar's head?
But
see, I want to. If you were 13 and you watched this movie, like I was watching Pulp Fiction at the time, but I was also watching everything else. But I think I would have loved this when I was like 13.
Look, I mean, I love it now.
Yeah.
It's just that now, and we are in the very much the habit of almost passively in our subconscious breaking down a movie as we watch it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just so much stuff in this movie that's me. All those motorcyclists trying to pull a Mad Max Fury Road, throwing missile launchers at our character. Yeah, it was all very, very throwaway to me, all those things and the bizarre scene and the this, that, and the other. It was all character interactions. But again, I agree with you. While I wasn't impressed or disliked all those little individual things, I loved the movie the whole way through. I was always smiling. It is the characters that make this work, and the characters are there basically the whole time. Boy, speaking of character interactions, by the way, best kiss of 2017?
Oh, Jack Black and Nick Jonas?
No. The Rock and Karen Gillan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was good. They went for that.
Oh my! And I was really thinking, it's like, because the whole time when I knew they had a thing, and now they're in the game, I'm like, well, The Rock is like 44, and so he's almost 20 years older than Karen. It really wouldn't. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's like, this doesn't feel right. And The Rock is always playing more, he doesn't have those scenes.
No, he doesn't. He's kind of, if you think about the Fast movies and all those, and he's kind of like asexual in movies.
Well, I mean, he's got smolder, if you will. It's just that they don't give him the sex scenes or the makeout scenes or the romance roles. And in this, I was just watching, kind of dreading it. And so when they moved up and they were going to do the kiss, I was like, this isn't going to feel right. He just looks like he could be her dad. I mean, again, whatever. There are 20-year gaps in couples, fine. But still, it's like, but then the way they executed it, I was like, oh my God, I was so wrong to have doubted you. Like, that super, they must have just delighted in the awkwardness of that kiss.
Yeah, that was fun, dude. I didn't see that coming. But one thing I was thinking about, The Rock. This is Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and then the rundown where he's in the jungle.
Right.
He does pretty well in jungles.
Even though, so they were originally going to call the rundown Hell Dorado, but I could have totally seen them calling that movie Welcome to the Jungle as well.
That was what they called it in England, the UK. I apologize.
Hell Dorado?
No, Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So he hasn't had many fresh films. The Fast movies, but I don't consider those Rock movies. So the only Rock movies that are really fresh are Central Intelligence. Hercules is 61%.
Ugh, I didn't like that one.
He's in Other Guys, but that's not Rock movie. So the only really certified fresh Rock movies are Rundown
Pain and
and
Gain?
Central Intelligence. Nope, not Pain and Gain.
But he was grilling hens, and the
Yeah.
Lord gave him a gift for knocking people out. I love that movie. That was the movie that made him the bigger, the physically more menacing Rock that he has been since then.
Yeah.
He put on like 20 or 30 pounds for Pain and Gain. Well, he really only was like 20 pounds heavier, but he was also lower body fat.
I like the Rundown Rock. I like Rundown Rock more than I like Fast Rock, because I think Rundown Rock tried more than Fast Rock.
Fast? You don't think he tried in the Fast movies?
Well, he's just he doesn't do much. He just kind of spouts lines, is never on screen with Vin Diesel, and looks cool. Like he's not trying. Like he's acting, he's doing a great job.
Physical acting.
He's acting tough. But the Rundown, he was a chef. He was kind of, he was hesitant about things. But now he's just kind of like this Arnold from Commando. I mean, he's still great.
Oh, no, you know what? That's fair. Fewer dimensions.
Don't get me wrong. You know me, man. I love the Fast movies. I'm all in. Like if I had 2 twos, I'm all in. You lost everything because but I'm all in on these movies. But I just liked him in the Rundown. I don't know. I like that better than
Yeah, that's very fair. I actually just watched that again. Actually, I watched it like 1.5 times in the last 2 weeks on HBO because I love those movies a lot. You know what's funny is looking back at him in that and saying, 1, you look small, and 2, why do you have hair?
Yeah.
Like I'm no longer used to seeing him with hair, and he just seems so petite.
Yeah, when you go back to those old clips with him with hair, you're like, what?
Yeah, he's small and has hair. But no, I love that. I love that movie too. You had made an observation about his sequel movie patterns, didn't you?
Yeah, like, all right, so none of his original films have had sequels, but they have, if you combine them all together, they have a higher Rotten Tomato average than all of his sequels. But all of his sequels that he's done, only one of his sequels has had a sequel. So he's the king of sequels, but he was in Fast 5, and then that went to Fast 6. But none of his other sequels have had sequels. G.I. Joe Retaliation, Journey 2. Those kind of movies have not had sequels. He was in...
They haven't had sequels with him in it, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So there's no Journey 3 kind of stuff like that. So all the sequels or remakes like Baywatch, that's not going to have a sequel. But Fast 5 went to Fast 6. But Tooth Fairy, Race to Witch Mountain, all of, like, Get Smart. Well, he died in that one. Spoiler. Game Plan, Doom, like, and even all of his adaptations, like his remake, Walking Tall. So he was in The Scorpion King, but he was in Mummy Returns. But then that was at the very end, only to put him in a prequel. So I don't really consider that. But it's pretty interesting that he's the king of sequels, but he's only had one of his sequels have had a sequel. And then none of his...
Well, he is going to have San Andreas too.
Yeah, and then... Jeez Louise. And then none of his remakes, or none of his original films have had a sequel. So none of his original films have a sequel, and then none of his remakes, adaptations, sequels have had sequels, except for the Mummy Return... Except for the Scorpion King sequel, which in turn had a prequel, which had another prequel, which had another prequel.
That actually checks out. He wrote about that on the website, folks. Look it up. It sounds like he was stroking out and speaking and babbling, but everything he said was accurate just then.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just a weird... Where do you think this is going to go? I mean, this movie's probably going to make $400 million on a $90 million budget. You can't bring them back. So would you just take... This is too profitable to not do something, right?
You mean for them to not do a sequel? I think that if they do a sequel, it will be that they, there's some reason that they need to decide on purpose to go back into the game to do something, to save someone. Maybe the game was trying to get them back and it sucked someone in that they had to save. I mean, they can do it and we'll roll our eyes. But if they get that cast, we're going to go love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I don't know. Final thoughts about Jumanji? What'd you think? Would you recommend it?
I would tell you that I am recommending a terrible film that is a wonderfully enjoyable movie and that you should go see it as soon as possible.
Yeah, it was fun. I left with a big smile on my face, and I'm still laughing about Jack Black running past Kevin Hart and all that kind of. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. I've been watching the press too, and that's like a lot of fun watching all those guys. And Karen Gillan did a really good interview with Empire magazine where she's really funny. And if you look up clips of Kevin Hart and The Rock and Jack Black on Graham Norton, they're hilarious together. So do that.
Yeah, I also really did appreciate that this was what I'll call a more true ensemble movie, because the Fast movies, like, they're big ensembles, but at the end of the day, it's a Vin Diesel movie because he gets the most hero moments.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Like in this, like this did not feel like a Dwayne Johnson movie. This felt like I really loved a lot of all their scenes. Jack Black stood out the most to me for the acting. Kevin Hart drew the most ridiculous laughs. The Rock is there for, the classic heroism and size and his The Rockness. Karen Gillan had her, none of them stood out more than the others in my memory overall. Even though I don't remember Karen Gillan's lines as much, I liked her scenes a lot,
Yeah. No, you're right. This was definitely an ensemble.
This seemed very fairly distributed for good scenes.
There weren't many egos, and I think that's what also worked. It just feels like a fun, generous movie. Like it's anti-fast.
Yeah, the anti-fast.
Yeah,
the slow and mellow.
Yeah, that's right. Do we have any plugs? Oh wait, I just want to get something out real quick. Robert Lamb, the guy that we teamed up with Shark Dropper Studios, he just started a thing called Seven Lambs Productions, where he has about 7 fiction podcasts. If you go on Blog Talk Radio, Stitcher, iTunes, you can find it. Just type in Seven Lambs. Creative Loafing just wrote about him. He's just hustling. He's writing. He's getting a lot of people to record. And he also, we're part of that crew. So if you get a chance, if you want to listen to some really good fictional podcasts, Doppel Avenue Hurt, various other shows, horror podcasts. He also walked across the United States where he's talking about that. So give it a chance. Robert Lamb, if you see him on Blog Talk Radio or iTunes. And also, if you get a chance, please rate, review, subscribe to our pod. We've had people do it recently, so thank you very much. But if you're ever bored, you're sitting there and you're on your phone right now, just please pop it up and let us know what you think.
Yeah, so I would like to. So I've mentioned this podcast a lot. The Last Knock. It's Crash Palace is how you can find them on Twitter. So I listen to them just regularly. It's a horror podcast that I like, and I was listening, and they happen to be doing their best horror of 2017. And I always enjoy how Billy Crash and Johnny Numb both go back and forth, and it's a lot like us sometimes with how one of us can really love a movie and the other won't, or one of us will be like, I see how it's a good film, but I don't need to see this again, and the other will just love it and adore it and can't wait to see what the person does next. They have a dynamic that oddly seems to mirror ours, and I like that. And then lo and behold, in the very end, I heard Billy Crash yet again giving us a plug, and he cannot say movies, films, and flicks without having to stop and think about it. For some reason, it's always got a glitch in his head. But thanks to them, and also I was listening to the Schlockernaut. They were doing their Christmas episode lately, and they apparently have a mission statement, and I provided them with some Mad Lib fill-ins for their mission statement. And they read some goofy lines about gremlins in their mission statement that I gave them, and very happily gave us both of our Twitter accounts. I like it when they do that because it lets me know that they really know us. And they were commenting about us and our podcast as well. And I always like the Schlockernaut. I just always listen to these horror podcasts. It's how I pass my time when I play with bugs in my office. But that's what I got. I got 2 fellow podcasts.
Nice. Well, this was fun, man.
Yeah. So, again, podcasters, we love hearing from you guys too, that we listen to, if you listen to us, but, listener questions, folks. If you're listening right now, we gave you some listener questions. We gave you a mailbag submission, as I was calling it. So if you're listening, you have some things that you just want to go off about on a movie, you can give us a mailbag submission. You have some silly questions about Monster Island, you can fire them our way too. We love answering them, and we love that you listen.
All right, guys. So for me and John Levengood, This is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.